Hey everyone, let's talk about something you probably use as a garnish and then push to the side of your plate. Chives, those thin green strands that restaurants put on your soup or baked potato. But here's what most people don't know. Chives are actually one of the most nutrient-dense foods on the planet, and the health benefits backed by modern medical research are honestly mind-blowing. I'm talking about real clinical studies here, not just folklore. By the end of this video, you're going to look at chives completely differently. Trust me on this one. Let's get into it. Reason number 1. Chives are a vitamin K powerhouse for bone health. Chives contain an absolutely insane amount of vitamin K. We're talking about 100 grams of fresh chives, providing 212.7 micrograms of vitamin K, which is about 177% of your daily recommended intake. That's not a typo. Nearly double what you need in a day. And this matters way more than you might think. So let's talk about why vitamin K is crucial for your bones. Vitamin K activates a protein called osteocalcin, and this protein is responsible for binding calcium to your bone matrix. Without adequate vitamin K, your body can't effectively use the calcium you're consuming, which means weaker bones even if you're drinking milk every day. A comprehensive review published in the journal Metabolism in 2017 looked at decades of research and found that vitamin K plasma levels show a positive correlation with bone mass and a negative correlation with fracture risk. Now here's something really important. The research shows that bone metabolism requires significantly more vitamin K than blood clotting does. We're talking 155 to 188 micrograms per day for bone health versus only 62 to 54 micrograms for blood clotting. Most people are getting just enough vitamin K to prevent bleeding problems, but nowhere near enough for optimal bone health. That's where chives come in. Just a tablespoon of fresh chopped chives gives you a substantial boost toward that higher requirement. And this isn't just for older people worrying about osteoporosis. If you're in your 20s or 30s, this is exactly when you should be maximizing your bone density. Peak bone mass happens in your late 20s to early 30s, and every bit of vitamin K you consume now is an investment against fractures and osteoporosis decades down the line. Reason number 2, the allicin connection, heart health and cholesterol control. When you cut or crush chives, they produce a compound called allicin through an enzymatic reaction, and allicin is an absolute powerhouse for heart health. Here's what the science shows. Laboratory studies have demonstrated that allicin reduces cholesterol production by inhibiting an enzyme called HMG-CoA reductase in your liver cells. If that enzyme sounds familiar, it's because that's the same enzyme that statin drugs target. So allicin works through a similar mechanism to cholesterol-lowering medications, just naturally and without the side effects. Now, allicin doesn't just work on cholesterol, it also affects blood pressure through a really interesting mechanism. Allicin decreases blood vessel stiffness by triggering the release of nitric oxide. Nitric oxide is a vasodilator, which means it relaxes and widens your blood vessels. When your blood vessels are more relaxed, your heart doesn't have to work as hard to pump blood, and your blood pressure naturally comes down. The studies show that when you combine allicin's effects with the potassium content in chives, and chives contain 296 milligrams of potassium per 100 grams, you get a synergistic blood pressure-lowering effect. But wait, there's more. Allicin also has antiplatelet and fibrinolytic activity. In simple terms, it prevents blood clots from forming and can even help break down existing clots. This is huge for preventing coronary artery disease, peripheral vascular disease, and stroke. The research indicates that allicin helps decrease the overall risk of these cardiovascular conditions that kill more people globally than any other cause. And here's a fascinating detail from the research. The allicin content in chive leaves on a dry weight basis ranges from 1.31 to 1.4%. That might not sound like much, but when you consider how potent allicin is, even small amounts can have significant physiological effects. Plus, unlike with supplements where you might get too much of a good thing, eating chives as part of your regular diet gives you a safe, effective dose naturally. Reason number 3, cancer-fighting compounds and antioxidant power. Now let's talk about cancer prevention, because this is where the research on chives gets really compelling. Chives belong to the allium family of vegetables, along with garlic, onions, and leeks. And there's been extensive research into how allium vegetables affect cancer risk. The evidence is pretty clear. Studies have shown that allium vegetables possess inhibiting effects on cancers of the stomach and esophagus. Chives specifically contain multiple cancer-fighting compounds, including allicin, quercetin, lutein, zeaxanthin, and high levels of fiber. Each of these works through different mechanisms to protect against cancer development. Let's break this down. Allicin, which we already talked about for heart health, is also a potent antioxidant that has been shown in scientific studies to lower breast cancer probability. There's research showing that allicin induces cell cycle arrest and apoptosis. That's programmed cell death in breast cancer cells by modulating a pathway involving the p53 protein, which is basically your body's tumor suppressor. Then you've got the flavonoid antioxidants like quercetin, lutein, and zeaxanthin. These compounds have been specifically linked to protection from lung and oral cavity cancers. Chives contain absolutely massive amounts of these compared to other vegetables. We're talking 4,353 IU of vitamin A per 100 grams. That's 145% of your daily requirement, and much of that comes from beta-carotene and these cancer-protective carotenoids. Here's something really interesting. Chives help your body produce glutathione, which is sometimes called the master antioxidant. Glutathione acts as a cancer identification agent in your body. It identifies carcinogenic components and helps eliminate them before they can cause DNA damage that leads to cancer. A population-based study found that consumption of allium vegetables is associated with reduced risk of prostate cancer. Another comprehensive review concluded that the organosulfur compounds in chives, particularly thiosulfonates, stimulate glutathione synthesis, and the fiber content matters too. Chives contain 2.5 grams of fiber per 100 grams, which is actually more than many other allium vegetables. That dietary fiber is particularly important for colon cancer prevention. Fiber speeds up the transit time of waste through your colon, reducing the time that potential carcinogens are in contact with your intestinal walls. What makes chives special is that you're getting this whole package of anti-cancer compounds working synergistically. It's not just one compound doing one thing. You've got multiple mechanisms of cancer protection all working together. Reason number 4. Digestive health and antimicrobial properties. Chives are exceptional for your digestive system and have powerful antimicrobial properties that science is only beginning to fully understand. This goes way beyond just helping with digestion. We're talking about actual therapeutic effects. Let's start with the digestive benefits. Chives are loaded with B vitamins, specifically B1, B2, and B3. Alongside their fiber content, these work together to elevate the metabolism of carbohydrates, proteins, and fats in your body. They regulate appetite and control cravings while facilitating smooth digestion. But here's what's really interesting. Chives contain compounds that stimulate digestive enzyme production. This means your body can break down food more efficiently and extract more nutrients from what you eat. Now, the antimicrobial properties are where things get really fascinating. Chives have been shown to have significant antibacterial effects. Research has demonstrated that chive extract shows dose-dependent inhibition of harmful bacteria, including E. coli, Staphylococcus aureus, and Shigella dysenteriae. A 2024 study found high antibacterial activities specifically against toxin-producing pathogenic strains of Staphylococcus aureus and Enterococcus faecalis. What's remarkable is that while chives are killing off harmful bacteria, studies show they don't inhibit beneficial bacteria like Lactobacillus acidophilus, which you need for healthy digestion and immune function. This selective antimicrobial activity is exactly what you want. It's like having a smart antibiotic that targets the bad guys while leaving the good bacteria alone. Chives are also rich in choline, an essential nutrient that many people don't get enough of. Choline is involved in synthesizing neurotransmitters, maintaining cell membrane structure, and supporting metabolism. The antimicrobial properties extend beyond just the digestive tract. Chive extract has shown antifungal activity, including against Candida albicans, which causes yeast infections. This makes sense given that chives produce allicin and other organosulfur compounds that have broad-spectrum antimicrobial effects. Remember, health isn't about doing one big thing. It's about making small, consistent improvements over time. Adding chives to your meals is one of the easiest, most delicious ways to do that. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.